It's Green Bay at San Francisco. Green Bay hasn't lost since the 49ers game in Week 12. 49ers are favored by 7.5. Over under at 45. It's all Aaron Rodgers versus my buddy Kyle Shanahan. I am. This is a tough one. I'm torn too. There's a lot of things playing a factor here. Yes, the 49ers dominated the first matchup. There's a lot of coaching similarities between LaFleur being, on the staff in Green Bay and having worked with Shanahan. Of course, Mike Pettin worked with Shanahan in Cleveland and all that stuff. Go ahead, Mike. What do you think? How do you think this one unfolds?
Well, I had been wanting to go back and watch that game from start to finish, or at least start to the point where I think I understand what went on. And 37-8, deceptive. It was not a blowout. Yep. It was not a bullying of the Packers by the 49ers. A couple of moments early on that helped lay the foundation for the hole that the Packers found themselves in. First drive of the game, Packers are moving. Davante Adams gets a first down.
Yeah.
And he gets into it with a 49ers defensive back. Gets called for unnecessary roughness.
Yeah.
15-yard penalty. That took the steam out of that drive. They still had the first down, but instead of the 40, they're at the 25.
Right.
And it was on that drive, 3rd and 10. The walls close in on Aaron Rodgers. The ball comes out. The 49ers get on the 5. First play, Tevin Coleman scores a touchdown. It's 7-0 just like that.
Right.
And then later, they started to play the field position game. There was a weird fumble by Jimmy Garoppolo, and the ball squirts out into the backfield. Anything can happen when something like that transpires. 49ers got lucky.
Yeah.
They recovered it. Then there was a 3rd and 5 where there was, I think, a sack by Adrian Amos. Oh, illegal use of hands to the face on Kevin King, extends the drive that ultimately becomes a field goal for the 49ers and makes it 10-0 when the Packers were in position to get the ball back and maybe not have bad field position because they were losing that field position battle at the time. So, you take away some of that stuff, and I think the Packers had horrendous clock management at the end of the half when it was 20-0.
Yeah.
They got the ball back with less than a minute, and Jamal Williams runs out of bounds with a screen pass. Aaron Rodgers misses Davante Adams. There's a sack. 49ers take their timeout. They get right down the field. It's 23-0. I mean, there's a huge psychological difference between 20-0 and 23-0 in my mind. And then, second half, Packers go down and score. It's 23-8. And the 49ers bang, bang, gone. It just makes me wonder what kind of adjustments Kyle Shanahan made at halftime to exploit that defense, because they found George Kittle over the top, and it was 30-8 like that, and that's when the game was over.
Right.
At that point, you're done. It's over. It's midway or close to the end of the third quarter, 22-point lead. It's done at that point. And I think you take away a few of those moments. And also, Aaron Rodgers wasn't as on as he was Sunday against the Seahawks. If he's that guy, on Sunday against the Seahawks, that he was on Sunday against the Seahawks, this Sunday against the 49ers, there was a long throw to Davante Adams that Ahkello Witherspoon was in position to kind of keep from hitting because it was overthrown. Jimmy Graham had a play much like the one that he dropped in, but Jimmy Ward was there to break it up.
Yeah, he dropped that one, yeah.
Yeah. If Aaron Rodgers is the guy he was on Sunday, the 49ers need to worry about this one.
Right.
They need to worry. Let me get your initial thought before I tell you my pick. Don't make your pick. Just give me your initial thought.
Yeah, no. Well, first off, you're right. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, I don't expect him to fumble and be surprised by, the pass rush this time around. I think Green Bay plays a great advantage. The fact that they've seen this front four once before, played in this stadium, all of those things, all the points you made are right. There's no doubt. 49ers were playing better, but the game was closer than the score indicated. I can remember Geronimo Allison dropped the ball over the middle on a 3rd down, maybe the second drive of the game. People go, oh, well, so what? That wasn't that big of a play. No, those plays are big in games like that. Especially early when you're trying to survive the momentum rush of a home team who just had a strip sack fumble and an easy touchdown and all those things. So you're right. The Packers did some things to shoot themselves in the foot to not play their best football game either. Now, either way, I think the 49ers were the better team in that game altogether. I think that the Packers have the advantage of this, as we've talked about all week, because fear is going to drive them all week. Fear is going to wake them up in the morning. Oh, gosh, we got killed by this team. Oh, gosh, I hope we can show up one more time here. Oh, gosh, we play like we did last time. We're going home. The season's over. So the human psychosis part of it definitely is in the favor of the Green Bay Packers. Now, the Green Bay Packers they're a much better team than where they were at that point as well. That's one thing for sure. Their run defense and defense in general got a whole lot better after that game. Now, saying that, they also haven't played a whole lot of great offenses to go with it. They certainly hadn't played an offense during this winning streak that is as balanced as the San Francisco 49ers or as creative. So that's something I do worry about. And the Packers' run defense has been better. And we talked about this. Shanahan is the master of exploiting coverages, exploiting tendencies, and exploiting the middle of the field in the pass game. Mike Pettin, he's got to have curveballs. Oh, if I play this coverage versus this personnel set and formation, you better do something different this week, because Kyle Shanahan's going to break the matrix if you play the same defenses versus the same formations and things like that. When you do that, you're done. So Pettin's got to learn from his mistakes, throw curveballs, and I think really flood the middle of the field. Like, flood it. Jimmy Garoppolo and the 49ers don't want to throw the ball outside the numbers. They don't do it. They don't want to. They're the best in football at throwing the ball down the middle of the field. Take that away. Make them show you they can beat you in some other way within the passing game. They're obviously going to be revved up in the running game. They got to stop that first. But in those passing situations or a down where they think they might, throw a play action slant over the middle or something like that, they got to be really disciplined at the second level to not overreact and get back underneath those passing lanes. And Pettin's going to have his work cut out for him there, being creative with that. But I do think that's one angle. They can be a real pain in the butt for Shanahan and Garoppolo.
And then there's the Garoppolo-Rodgers duel, and I don't think anybody would say Garoppolo is even close to the stratosphere that Aaron Rodgers occupies. And as we said multiple times during today's PFT Live, the idea that Aaron Rodgers is keenly aware that this may be it for him,
sure,
that these opportunities don't come very often. And he was so dialed in last week, and I know that things can change dramatically from one week to the next. Just ask the Vikings how they played in New Orleans versus how they played in San Francisco. But I feel like Aaron Rodgers has that will, that desire, and you put it with the abilities. Here's one thing I think the Packers need to do too, Chris. They need to get Aaron Rodgers out of the pocket quicker.
Yeah.
Because the times he had trouble was when he tried to linger in the pocket too long. He needs to escape faster like a Russell Wilson does.
Right.
Because he's got the ability to run away from Nick Bosa and Dee Ford. We saw him do it. Remember that move he put on Nick Bosa in that game where Bosa kind of got faked out of his jockey shorts? I mean, Aaron Rodgers can run away from those guys. They need to have him play more like Patrick Mahomes. Get him on the run. Get him on the move. He can throw accurately on the move. But that's a way to neutralize that pass rush, is get him moving around so it's not just guy takes 5 steps back and they just close in, and maybe he gets rid of the ball, maybe he doesn't. That's where the fumble happened. That's where a lot of the sacks happened.
No doubt.
Get him out of the pocket. Get him moving. That's going to neutralize the front seven.
Very real point, Mike. No doubt about that. And we did a little tape right earlier this morning on PFT. The Packers had a lot of issues with passing off stunts, right? The defensive tackle and the defensive end cross. And they were really having their issues kind of sorting it all out. Hey, again, they're going to know what to expect. They're going to understand the monster in which they're dealing with, not only the crowd noise, but the speed and explosiveness that this front seven has. It really will help you to the fact that, I've seen them once, so this will not be as jarring for the first time. And I got a tweet that's a really interesting, good question from International Touch, okay? Do you think the Green Bay offense will go no huddle early with quick passes versus the 49ers, similar to Brady playing the 10 Steelers to stymie the pass rush? Man, International Touch, you got the touch. Because I have thought about that. One, your point's real. Move the pocket. Two, yes, They better have screens. Rodgers is the best quarterback I've ever seen as well with throwing those quick wide receiver screens, right, Mike? You've seen it a million times. He gets the shotgun snap and deals it out there real quick to Davante Adams. Nobody can get it in and out of their hand faster than Aaron Rodgers in the history of the NFL. So those are things, too, that they should use. One, why? Yes, to what you're saying. Get it out of his hands, make the pass rush slow down, think a little, right? They're going to start upfield and then go, whoa, I got to redirect over here to stop Davante Adams. I have thought about this question with international touch, what he's talking about, because he's right. That's what the Patriots used to do to the Steelers. They would try to wear them out in the first quarter and a half to take away all that, ferociousness and just the intensity a little bit, to take that edge off of them because they're sick of rushing. Whoa, the pace, it's wearing me out. The only thing is if you want to do that, you got to feel comfortable about your defense on the other side of the ball too, and feel like, okay, I'm not going to put them in a position where they're going to get dominated. Like, okay, we try to come out, hurry up offense, go 3 and out, and it doesn't work. And now our defense, lets up a touchdown drive. Do you really want to come out and do no huddle again and risk going 3 and out and having your defense right back out there? So there's going to have to be whether you got to have the belief in your attack on offense and the belief in your attack on defense that it can all work out as a team and be cohesive that way, I think is going to be, the big thing. But it's something to watch for. I would not be shocked if Rodgers came out and said, you know what, like you said, move the pocket, screens, quick passes out of my hands. Hey, get up the line of scrimmage, set HUD, do it all again and make them kind of lose their intensity. I've thought about it, and I think it's real. Would you do it is the question. Would you do it, Mike? Do you think it's risky?
I would use it selectively. I would use it at the right time. You have to have a good feel for when to drop that hammer, and you do it when they least expect it. So you get them tired, you get them gasping. Maybe you have a sustained drive. If it works out, you get the ball back. You start to get it moving again. They're starting to huff and puff a little bit. Boom, no huddle.
Yeah, right.
That's what you have to be. Yeah. That's where that ability, when you're standing on the sideline in the middle of this crucible with thousands and thousands and thousands of people and all kinds of stuff going on, do you have that ability to slow the world down and say, now is the time. I'm going to make this calm, dispassionate decision. Now is the time to drop the hammer and get it into no huddle. But I think that's when I would use it. I wouldn't come out of the gates with it. I would wait until I feel like my offense is starting to get them worn down, starting to get them on the ropes. Boom, no huddle. And that's how I would use it. I wouldn't use it all game. I don't think they need to use it all game.
No, you're right.
They just need to avoid some of the shit that screwed them up the last time early. If they can withstand the early blows from the 49ers, they can keep this close. And if it's close into the third quarter, midway through the third quarter, the 49ers are going to start to freak out because it's not 37-8 this time around. Right. And then it comes down to Jimmy Garoppolo pissing down his leg. And between the two guys, Aaron Rodgers and Jimmy Garoppolo far more likely to self-urinate himself than Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, well, I hear that. You're right. I mean, gosh, I feel like if we're in a 2 or 3 point game at the end of the game, then, I'd probably want to ride with Aaron Rodgers. Even though Garoppolo has been very good in those moments. And, I want to read another tweet from Justin Sandhu, all right? He says, do you think the 49ers DBs can have success playing man against the Packers wide receivers? I think that's another element to look at here. One, the 49ers don't want to play a ton of man-to-man. And, Mike, you've heard me say this, right? I think if you're going to attack the 49ers, they play single safety almost all game. 90% of the game. You can attack outside because whether it's man or 3-deep zone, they kind of play the same way in the 49ers scheme. And I do think you can work them, especially if it's Davante Adams. And added to that, opposite of the 49ers, who we say only throw the ball over the middle of the field and don't really throw the ball outside, well, that great one, Aaron Rodgers, he utilizes the whole field. Yes, Rodgers is one of the best in the sport at throwing the ball outside the numbers. So that would be a thing, too, where I'd go, hey, like you have said, we worry about that pass rush. If I'm the Packers, too, don't be afraid of, keeping a tight end or two in the block every now and then. Keep them in the block. We talk about the quick passing game, the screens, all of those things. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. And then, okay, yeah, you've got a lot of quick passes, but every now and then you need some chunk plays. You need some 15, 20, 25-yard gains. That's where I'd like to see Green Bay go, okay, we're keeping 6 or 7 guys in to protect, and it's Devontae Adams versus Mosley or Devontae Adams versus Richard Sherman. And I like Rodgers and Adams' chances to just work whatever they want to work and deem necessary on the outside and just simplify it and say, hey, screw the other 10 guys. We know our guy's better than him. You beat him one-on-one, and our quarterback can throw strikes all day long, and we'll just do that. I think there has to be some element there. It does, and that's another way you can wear out that pass rush a little bit, and Rodgers can drop back and feel good and be aggressive and not have to worry about, is Bosa coming? Is D Ford coming? Whatever it may be. I think that's a real thing. And conversely to that, Mike, just to play devil's advocate on my own thought, the 49ers don't do this, but they should, okay? You hear me, Kyle? You should. Is on third.
You have other ways to communicate with him, don't you?
Yeah, well, I'm going to stay out of his ear this week. He doesn't need to hear from me. But 3rd and 5+, double Devontae Adams. Double him. Make Green Bay beat you with somebody other than Devontae Adams. I mean, last week, what did we see? Every big moment. Who did number 12 look for? Devontae Adams. He was looking for him in every big moment. Oh, it's 21-10. The Seahawks are coming back. Zoom. Whoa, where's Devontae Adams? Zoom. Oh, touchdown, Devontae Adams. Oh, the game's on the line. The big 3rd 10. Whoa, there's Devontae Adams down the sidelines. That's who he's looking for. Take him away. But I think that's something to look for in the game either way.
Yeah, okay, here we are.
We're
at the moment. Oh, I got one more thing to say, too.
Yeah, go ahead.
And we talked earlier about which guy is most likely to be outcoached this weekend. It was one of the what's more likely topics on PFT Live, and we both said Matt LaFleur. There was one moment that drove me crazy, and I know it drives you crazy because you helped make me sensitive to this. There was a 4th and 1 play when the Packers were down only 10-0.
Right.
What do? They line up in shotgun formation and try to run it. What are you doing? 4th and 1, you're going to run out of shotgun? Get the out of here, as you would say.
Thank you. Get the out of here. Get a fullback in there. Come downhill. Don't handicap your own damn running back by having to run sideways to start off on a play where it's most important to get vertical and ahead of steam to get the 1 yard on the first down. You're exactly right. That was another big part of the game. You're right. I mean, hey, whether they just kick a field goal there or convert that, you're going to go, we're in a game. But they screwed that up. And, of course, yeah, that led to issues with them altogether. So it's very interesting. It really is. I think Rodgers is going to be on his A game and feeling his hot hand, especially with the way he threw the ball last week. And I know he made some comments like I saw in NFL films and things like that, like in pregame, and I saw his postgame press conference where he felt it early. Like he knew he had the feel and I got it going today. And he's going to have it this week, San Francisco. He's going to have it. It's big time, prime time football. Aaron Rodgers ain't going anywhere. He's going to be ready. And I'm pumped for that. I really am. There's going to be a lot. This game goes to 2 or 3 points in the fourth quarter. Like you've said, the pressure is going to go to the 49ers. It's going to be on them. They're at home. They're the 1 seed. It's Shanahan's first conference championship. Jimmy Garoppolo's never been in these moments. We're expecting them to win. They're sitting there thinking, wait, what happened? We blew them out last time. How has this changed? And that'll be a very real factor too. All right, you ready?
And think about it. Think about it. Here's my pick.
Yeah.
And the thing about Aaron Rodgers, as I said, keenly aware of his football mortality, coming home to Northern California to play the team that passed over him in 2005, his first year without Mike McCarthy, and an opportunity to show everyone that maybe he would have been in the Super Bowl a few more times over the past decade if there were different circumstances in Green Bay. But this is all lining up. For Aaron, and I understand 49ers fans are going to lose their shit over this. Oh, you hate the 49ers. No, I'm trying to be right. And I believe, and no one's ever accused me of being in the Aaron Rodgers fan club, by the way.
No.
But I believe, based on what we saw from Aaron Rodgers this past weekend and what we saw in that game week 12, and I really do put more of what happened on Saturday on the Vikings than I do on the 49ers. I think it could have been a closer game. Jimmy Garoppolo coughed some balls up that maybe the Packers aren't going to be as charitable as the Vikings about, and they'll grab that ball and they'll do something with it. But if the Packers can avoid the kind of screw-ups that punctuated the first half of that game and allowed San Francisco to get that 23-0 lead, the Packers can keep it close. And if they keep it close, because of that 37-8 outcome in Week 12, it favors the Packers down the stretch. I see the Packers stealing this one, Chris Simms, 24-21, and setting up a rematch of the first Super Bowl ever in the NFL's 100th season with Andy Reid, who made his bones in Green Bay as a member of that coaching staff under Mike Holmgren. Andy Reid taking on the Packers in the Super Bowl in Miami. That's what I see. Chiefs-Packers, Super Bowl 54. And I don't know how confident I am about it, but at some point, you got to take your hand off the checker.
Yeah, that's right. Well, that would be an awesome Super Bowl. We got cheated out of that matchup this year earlier without Rodgers and Mahomes both being on the same field. So, I mean, that's a win-win. I'd be certainly excited to watch that one. I'd be tuned in. I just can't do it. As much as I think there is a real possibility.
Your tattoo is throbbing.
It's throbbing.
K-S.
It's
K-S.
Yeah, you're right.
K-S.
You're exactly right. I just can't do it just because I just think clearly the 49ers are the better football team. Now, I think a lot, the points you've raised and the things we've talked about, they're real. I think if there is an upset to happen this weekend, this is the game I look at. I do, because I think Garoppolo, like we saw last week, is capable of shitting down his leg. I do, for lack of a better phrase. I mean, he should have
while in bed.
Shitting
the bed and shitting down his leg.
Right.
Simultaneously.
Well, I mean, last week, he could have easily thrown 4 interceptions. He easily could have. I think he can get away with throwing 1 interception in this game and they can win. If it goes to more than that, they're going to lose the game. If it's like, he's thrown 2 and somebody else fumbled or they messed something else up, they're going to lose that game. The Packers need something like that to happen, in my opinion, to win this one. I just think the 49ers are too well-rounded of a football team. Having been there last week, that fan base is rabid. That stadium is crazy. And I just think it'll be a little too much to overcome for Aaron Rodgers just to do it that way. So I'm going 49ers 24-17, and they will go to the Super Bowl and play Patrick Mahomes down there in Miami.
Let me just say this, though.
Yeah.
I will say this. If it's 14-7 in the first half and Jimmy Garoppolo serves up an interception deep in his own end, Aaron Rodgers will not settle for a field goal, right?
I agree with that.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, that's what I keep coming back to.
I know.
Kirk Cousins versus Jimmy Garoppolo is basically that meme of the 2 Spider-Men pointing at each other.
Right.
Aaron Rodgers versus Jimmy Garoppolo is something else that I can't think of anything good to say, but it's a mismatch.
Well,
it's a mismatch, and I think that's going to be the difference, and that's going to freak out Jimmy Garoppolo the same way he was freaked out last week but got away with it. He's going to be freaked out again, and this time it's going to make the 49ers pay.
Well, that's where, I think, too, the other factor into that, and I think your point's real there, is just how's the 49ers run game doing, right? Last week, I think Shanahan legitimately had concerns whoa, Jimmy's trying to lose this football game. Well, the good thing is they were dominating the line of scrimmage in the run game, so they didn't have to worry about kind of indoctrinating Jimmy back into the game plan or having to rely on him. So that'll be a huge thing. This Packers defense has been much, much better against the run down the stretch. It definitely has. Now, the thing I just don't know about, is they haven't played a real great run offense down the stretch either for me to really dictate where they are at. The Seahawks, yes, they were one of the better ones all season, but not down the stretch with some of the injuries on the O-line and the running back position. So that didn't correlate either. But I do have some faith that they're going to be better than they were the first time around, and that Matt LaFleur and company will have a better plan of attack. And we'll be shocked if the result was like the first time around where the 49ers blew them out. I'm going to read one more tweet here because I think this is an interesting one. Gum Gum Jr. You want Gum Gum? You're Dum Dum. You know what movie that is?
No.
It's the movie where the dinosaurs come alive and Night at the Museum.
Night at the Museum.
Yes, right. Yeah. But here we go. Gum Gum Jr. says, how does Aaron Rodgers make such ridiculous throws when utilizing bad mechanics? When he misses, and he misses with bad mechanics, everyone kills him. When he hits with bad mechanics, everyone says it's amazing. How do you walk this line? Well, first off, listen, you don't hear me say that, all right? His mechanics, even when they're bad, there's a lot of things that he does the right way. And, Rodgers, like Mahomes, they kind of want to throw the ball off balance or under, because they have such great feel and touch. They kind of just want to, let me just figure it out in my hand, and I'll figure out how to throw the ball either way. But, I mean, come on. Rodgers is the greatest thrower I've ever seen. I mean, maybe Mahomes will change that as his career goes. But I think some of those throws that we go, oh, that's crazy, they're going to come in handy this week like they did last week, because some of the ones last week were insane with some of the positions he was in and things like that with people around his feet. And he's going to have some people around his feet this week in San Francisco, and he's going to have to make some magic.
Yeah, I agree with you completely, and he is a lot like Mahomes in that he can make what they call the funny body throw, where your feet aren't planted.
Right.
You don't have the right mechanics. Your body's moving. Your arms at weird angles. You're flipping. A lot of that, the sidearm stuff. Watch Aaron Rodgers closely. He's the original Patrick Mahomes.
That's right.
It just got a lot sexier with Mahomes because of the no-look throw and the left-handed throw. But
That's
Rodgers
right.
does a lot of the same things.
Yep.
And I say move that platform. Move that platform to get away from those beasts that are going to be chasing him around. And that's a way to tire those guys out, too.
Definitely.
I mean, think about the contrast for the front four of the San Francisco 49ers. Last week, you got a statue standing there in Kirk Cousins. All you got to do is go up and give him a shove, and he's on the ground. This week, you're Rocky in Rocky 2 trying to chase the chicken around.
Yeah, right.
Before Rocky got in shape.
Got to be as fast as greased lightning, kid.
It's gonna, that speed, it's gonna wear you out.
Yeah.
So you're gonna eat lightning and you're gonna crap thunder, but it's gonna take them some time to get to the point where they can do that. And so I think that contrast from Cousins to Rodgers plays into Green Bay's advantage.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.